morning everybody and welcome to today's first class. I'm going to try and post a few sessions on today. So this session is called Beginners or Level 1 Pilates Mat Flow. The idea with the flow sessions is that they're a little bit faster paced and one exercise is supposed to flow straight into the next one. So it's a continuous stream of movements. As usual, any problems, I want you to stop straight away. It's a lower level, so if you've not done flow Pilates before, if you start here, we're going to be posting a few different levels on hopefully today. So if you find that this is a little bit easy, then you can move on to the next level if you need to. This class is suitable if you have certain problems like niggly backs, perhaps niggly jointy issues, knees, perhaps shoulders. Postnatally, you could do this session, but I would recommend you leave it till the 6 to 8 week mark and make sure that you've done the level 1 postnatal recovery before you do this session, please. Just to make sure you've got the foundation there, you've got some tension into your tummy. If you do have diastasis, if you have pelvic health conditions, prolapse, incontinence, then obviously be very aware of your body and your symptoms. If you feel that you leak during any of these sessions, really, you should stop and contact me straight away. It's not normal, so don't think that it is. As usual, any problems, stop. If you have any specific health concerns, email me or drop me a message before you start. And as always, if you wouldn't mind just reading through the group info page, just to make sure that there aren't any contraindications before you start this exercise session. So we're going to start on the floor. So in terms of equipment, with this session, you don't really need anything except for a mat and some head supports. So as usual, I've got my little blocks. I've got a 1 inch and a 3 inch block here. So if you haven't got these blocks, don't worry, you can just use a little towel, like I say during every single class. You're probably sick of me saying it, but you can just fold a towel in half, or you can use a little cushion, but just make sure that you've got something to go underneath your head. So we're actually going to start on the floor. So if you take your time, come down onto the mat. Make sure you've got enough support underneath your head. And we're just going to come down onto your back. So first thing, just make sure that you feel comfortable. So what we really want is for your feet, your knees and your hips to be in a nice tram line, nice and parallel all the way through. Just check that both feet are pointing forwards and your knees aren't knocking together or flopping out to the side. So we just want that nice line going through the legs. And then just make sure that your spine is in a neutral position. So just allow your back to flatten down into the mat. Just gently, so you're not trying to push into any discomfort if you've got any back issues. So just gently flatten and then just roll back off. So we're just going to arch a little bit into the small of the back. And again, so drop down, flatten, and then arch away. And we're just going to keep going for a few more. And then I just want you to rest in neutral, so we're finding that midpoint between those two positions. Just make sure that it feels comfortable, and it should do. So shoulder blades are nice and relaxed, rib cage is soft, and we're thinking about neck alignment. So with regards to your positioning with your head, just make sure you haven't got too much support underneath your head, so it's bringing your head up, or too little so that your head is then dropping back towards the floor. So we just want that nice neutral neck alignment. And again, you should feel comfortable. So from here, I just want you to connect gently into your core. So we're thinking about your imaginary zip going from pubic bone up towards tummy button, and you're just visualizing that you're just gently drawing in through that imaginary zip. So we're connecting into the core. You should be able to keep breathing. You shouldn't feel too much tension coming through into your upper tummy. And your spine should stay in that nice neutral position. So when you connect into your core, we don't want to feel any movement really going on around the spine or the pelvis. So we're going to start nice and gently. We're just going to do some pelvic tilts or pelvic rocks. So pretty much what we were just doing, but I want you to keep that connection on with your tummy. We're going to take a breath in to prepare. So as usual, as you breathe in, we're thinking about allowing the base of the ribs just to lift gently up and out. And then on the out breath, I just want you to allow your tailbone to tilt, and we're just going to flatten the spine down into the floor. And then we're going to breathe in and roll back off. And again, we're breathing out, gently flatten, and breathe in, roll back off. So it's just a really small movement around the spine. We're just allowing the back just to loosen off. If you do have back problems or sciatica, make sure that you're not moving into any pain. So you shouldn't feel any increased leg symptoms or any sort of, significant pain in your back. So just make sure that you're just moving as far as comfort allows. So we're just going to keep going for a few more. Breathe out, breathe in, roll back off. Now we're going to keep going for a few more. Just going to do one last one, and then we're going to progress. We're going to move it up into a bit more of a bridge position. So we're going to allow the spine to flatten. Keep your knees parallel with your hips. This time we're just going to allow the tailbone to lift away from the floor, and we're going to peel up through the spine. So I want you to imagine your spine is a string of beads. We're starting from tailbone, and then you're just lifting up through the spine one bead at a time until roughly you're resting mid-shoulder blade sort of level. Arms just stay down on the floor. We're going to breathe in, hold, and then breathe out. Keep the pelvis nice and level. Imagine your string of beads again, and we're just going to allow the spine to roll back down one bead at a time, all the way back down to the tailbone, and then come back to your neutral position. We're going to keep going for a few more. So breath in, prepare. Keep those shoulder blades down. Try and keep the chest open, so collarbones are wide. Shoulder blades drawing down into the floor. We're breathing out to peel up. Nice level spine and pelvis. When you get to the top, you should feel some glute activation. So you should be able to feel those glutes kicking in at the top. Hold it for a breath in. Your knees stay parallel, so we don't want them flopping out to the side. Breathe out. We're going to roll back down again. Okay, so we're nice and controlled. Now if you do have, we're going to keep going by the way, if you do have any stiffness in your back, or if you have weakness in your core, you will find that it's quite difficult, particularly on the way down, to get each individual vertebral segment back to the floor in a nice, smooth, controlled way. So you might find that it feels really juddery perhaps, or you might find that you can't really isolate each individual segment, so it feels like the spine is moving as a block. That's quite a common thing, but hopefully with a bit of practice that will start to get better. And just remember, you don't have to take the bridge all the way up to the top. If you want to, you can just literally lift the tailbone away from the floor, so it's just a really small lift, and then come back down. So just move as far as you feel comfortable. And what we really want to make sure is that you're moving with good form and technique, you're keeping things controlled, you're able to move with your breathing. We're going to do one more. This time when we get to the top, we're going to hold it. Okay, so we're going to take a breath in, breathe out, we're going to come back up into the bridge. And then we're going to hold it for a breath in. Now we're going to add some heel lifts in. Now you can do one heel at a time, or you can do both heels together. So we're going to hold for a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift both heels away from the floor. You're trying to lift as high as you can, but keeping the pelvis level. Don't let your hips drop. Breathe in, allow the heels to come back to the floor. So again, breathe out, lift. And breathe in, down. So we're really isolating the movement now, just to the ankle. Everything else is staying nice and still. Shoulders down, collarbones wide. Keep going. We're going to do 3 more. Breathe out. Breathe in. So you should really feel your glutes and your hamstrings just kicking in that little bit deeper. And we're going to do 1 more. And then bring the heels down, but stay in your bridge. We're going to go into arms now. So this time we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to take both hands away from the floor. And we're just going to allow the arms to come back behind you, but make sure you're not hunching the shoulders. Keep your shoulder blades down. Breathe out, we're going to take the arms back down and we're coming down to your hips. Okay, so breathe in, arms come back, and come back down, breathing out. We're going to keep going for 2 more, so you may well feel that your glutes are now feeling a little bit tired. Keep those shoulder blades down. If you do have shoulder issues, you can try this, but just make sure you're not moving into pain. So take the arms back to the hips, and then we're just going to reach up just so that the hands are just over shoulders, so directly above shoulders. Take a breath in, and then breathe out. We're going to roll back down through the spine. So again, we're trying to come down one segment of the spine at a time, nice and controlled. And then when you get to the bottom, just draw your knees in towards you. And we're just going to allow the back to flatten and just circle the legs a couple of times each direction. So we're going to bring the feet to the floor. So again, we've got feet, knees and hips in a nice parallel line, but then I want you to just connect your feet and your knees together. So we're going to bring the legs together, and then I just want you to take your arms out to the side. So your hands are level with your shoulders, shoulder blades are drawing down into the floor. So we want to try and keep that connection, shoulder blade and floor, nice and wide through the front of the chest. If you don't like having your arms up this high, bring them down a little bit. So a little bit more of a V shape rather than level with the shoulders. So again, we're going to connect into your core. We're keeping the spine in neutral. We're going to breathe in to prepare. On the out breath, we're just going to allow both knees just to roll in a controlled way. So don't let them flop over. Keep the shoulder blades down. We're taking the knees over to one side as far as they'll go. And just allow your head to rotate into the opposite direction. So we're getting a nice stretch into the spine. Hold it for a breath in, and then just deepening the connection into your tummy, we're going to control the legs back up to the centre and bring the head back to the centre as well at the same time. And then we're going over to the other side. So again, breath in, prepare, breathe out. We're going to take both knees over, allow the head to rotate opposite direction. Keep those shoulder blades drawing down, nice and open through the chest. Breathe in to hold, and deepen the connection into your core. Breathe out, allow the legs to come back to the centre, bring the head back to the centre. We're going to do 1 more each side. So again, breath in, breathe out, rotate. Nice breath in, hold. And breathe out. Connect that bit deeper into the tummy, back to the centre, and we're going to do 1 more. It just feels really nice just to move and stretch. So again, hold it for a breath in. Connect that little bit deeper into the core as you're bringing the legs back up. And then we're just going to bring the feet and the knees just so that they're parallel again. So feet, knees and hips parallel. We're going to take the arms down to the sides. We're going to do your abdominal preparation, which is a little bit of a starting point to get your tummy muscles kicking in just that little bit more. We are going to do a head lift. If you're not happy lifting the head, you can take one hand and place it around the back of your head for a bit of support if that feels a bit better. Now, if you have diastasis, if you're postnatal, if you have weak tummy, what I want you to try and think about is keeping your tummy flat when you're doing this. So what we want is to manage the pressure really well within your abdomen as you're doing the exercise. We don't want to be bearing down into your pelvic floor, and we don't want the tummy to be popping up. So we call it doming in Pilates. So what we don't want is as you're lifting, that we don't want the lower tummy to tent upwards or just pop upwards. So we're keeping the connection on with your lower tummy, pelvic floor to lower tummy. So imagining your zip, pubic bone to tummy button, keeping that connection on. What we also want to make sure is that you're keeping your spine in neutral, so we don't want to flatten the back, and you're exhaling on the effort. So as we lift, you're going to exhale. So feet, knees and hips are parallel. Reach your fingers towards the feet, but we're trying to keep that nice openness through the front of the chest. Shoulder blades are down. We're going to connect first. Pubic bone to tummy button. So get that connection on first. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift the head. And then we're just going to reach the fingers down towards the feet. Keep the spine in neutral, but we're lifting up into a little bit of a curl up. So we're not trying to do an actual crunch or a proper sit up. It's just a little curl up. We're going to hold for a breath in. And then breathing out, we're going to come back down nice and controlled. So it's a really controlled abdominal exercise. So again, take a breath in. Open the front of the chest, so we're keeping that nice wide collarbone. Breathe out, connect and lift. Just look down at your tummy, make sure it's not popping upwards. Hold it for a breath in and breathe out. Come back down. We're going to keep going for a few more. Breath in, breathe out. Reach your fingers towards the feet. Breath in, hold. And breathe out, come back down. We're going to do 2 more. On the last one, we're going to come up and hold. So breath in, breathe out, reach, lift. We're going to hold for a breath in when we get to the top. As you breathe out, we're going to reach the arms up. Breathe in, bring them back down. We're going to do 3 more. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in, down. So again, remember, as you're lifting the arms, we don't want to see any doming of that tummy. And last one. And then control it back down, and then we're going to go straight into your scissors. So we're going to breathe in, make sure shoulder blades are down. As you breathe out, we're going to take one leg to tabletop. So we're just coming up so that the knee is just over the hip, the foot is level with the knee, and then we're bringing it back down again. So again, we want level pelvis, connect into your core as you lift, that's a little bit deeper. You shouldn't feel any flattening or arching going on around the spine as you're lifting the leg up and down. So we're keeping it really controlled around the pelvis and the back. Let's keep it going. We're going to breathe out, lift, and breathe in, lower. If you want to make this harder, you can reach your fingers to your feet. You can lift your head a little bit, so we're coming back into your abdominal preparation that we were just practicing, and we're going to hold it. If this is too much for your neck, or if you feel that you're getting some popping up coming through the tummy, or if you've got diastasis, if you feel like you've got that big ridge coming down through the middle, don't want you to do this, okay? So just keep the head down and just do the legs on their own. So really monitor what is happening in your tummy and around your core as you're doing this. So let's do 1 more on each side, and I'm just going to build a little bit more. So on the next one, we're going to lift the leg to tabletop. We're going to hold it for a breath in, and then we're going to breathe out, and we're going to switch. So we're going to drop this leg down, we're going to lift the other leg up, and then we're going to switch and switch. So with this one, we're holding for a breath in, breathe out as you switch. Breath in, breathe out. Breath in, breathe out. In, breathe out. Keep it going. So again, control. If you want to make it harder, same as before. Keep the spine in neutral, lift the head, reach your fingers towards your feet, and we're just going to keep it going. Let's do 1 more on each side. Bring your head down, hug your knees in. Just let the back flatten, just rotate a few times each direction with the legs. So we're going to do similar exercise, so we're going to stay on your back for a little bit longer. So this time we're going to take 1 leg to tabletop. Check again, pelvis is level, core is engaged, spine is in neutral, shoulder blades are down, we're still in the same position. So this time we're going to reach this leg out. We're going to stretch it away. When the leg is straight, the knees are roughly level, so we don't want to drop the leg down too low, and we don't just want to stretch the knee up towards the ceiling. So when you're stretching the leg, make sure it's coming, the movement is coming from the hip. So we're going to reach out through the hip, point the toes. We're getting the knee nice and straight, but the knees are roughly level when you get to the end of that stretch, and then we're going to draw it back in. So we're going to breathe in as you stretch, breathe out as you draw back in, and as you breathe out and draw back in, we're just trying to connect a little bit deeper into your core. So just imagine that you're just drawing up into your imaginary zip, just that little bit stronger. Breathe in, stretch, breathe out, draw back. Now if you want to, we can bring some arms in with this as well. So we're going to lift the arms up, just so that the hands are over the shoulders. If you don't like this, keep them down on the floor. If you want to make it harder on the next one, as you stretch the leg out, we're going to take your arms back behind. Not too far, so we don't want to arch the back or flare the ribs. We're going to circle the arms round as the leg comes back in. Okay, so we're going to breathe in, stretch arms and leg. Breathe out, circle the arms, bring the leg in. Breathe in, breathe out, pull in. Breathe in, breathe out. Now if you want to make it harder, back into your abdominal preparation that we were doing before. So we're just lifting the head, curling up a little bit more into your upper spine. We're going to keep going. One more on this side. And then bring that leg down, arms down, head down, and we're going to go on to the other leg. So we're going to lift the leg up. We're just going to do the leg on its own first. So connect, and again, just make sure that your collarbones are wide, shoulders are down. We're going to stretch the leg out. So again, when you stretch, we're working from the hip. When you get to the end, the knees are roughly level, and then we're going to draw back in again. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, and in, breathe out. If you want to make it harder, let's take up the arms. On the next one, we're going to stretch the arms back, circle as the leg pulls in. Breathe in, breathe out. Lift the head if you want to make it harder. Let's do 3 more. So just make sure when you're doing these, obviously we're just working one leg at a time, so bring the head down, hug the knees in. You're still trying to keep things as controlled as you can. So when we're doing single leg work, it's really easy to lose that control through the pelvis. So you can often drop down through the pelvis, you can often twist through the pelvis or through the ribs. So we've just got to really think about keeping that nice alignment through the body. So although we haven't got both legs away from the floor, it's still quite challenging when you're just working one side. So just bear that in mind. So we're going to go into your 100. So we're going to take it easy with this. We're not going to go into sort of higher levels. But again, we're trying to think about pressure management. So we don't want to be feeling like you're bearing down into your pelvic floor. You don't want to be feeling like your tummy is popping up. If you feel any of those things, we need to come down a level. So we're going to start with level 1 and we're going to gradually build. I want you to keep going until you feel like you get to that point where if you were to take it any further, you'll probably start cheating or it won't be quite as controlled, okay? So we're going to start just with the arms on their own. So feet, knees and hips are parallel. Spine is neutral. We're going to reach the fingers towards the feet. We're going to hover the arms just to hip level. And we're going to pulse here. So we're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to take one leg up for 5. Bring it down for 5. Other side, up, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you want to, you can bring your head lift in, so your abdominal preparation that we were doing before. So we can take you up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really look and see what's going on with your tummy. So you want to be able to keep that nice connection, pubic bone to tummy button. Make sure your lower tummy or your sort of midline isn't popping up. We're keeping the spine in neutral. And it's controlled. If you want to speed it up a little bit to make it harder, then that's another option. So we can come up, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have no idea how many we've done. I think we're probably on about 80. So let's just keep going. We're going to do one more on each side. Okay, so we're going to come up, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one, 2, 3, 4, 5, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done. Bring your head down, hug your knees in. I'm just going to rotate the legs a couple of times each direction. So from here we're going to turn onto one side. So I'm just going to turn onto my right to face you. Now it's up to you whether you use pads or blocks or whatever underneath any bony bits. Some people like to have something underneath their hip if it digs into the floor. Other people find they need something under their shoulder. So just use cushions and blocks as you feel you need to. We definitely need one underneath your head. So block underneath head, underneath arm can be out straight like so, or you can take it in front of you, or you can hug the block. So either way, you've got a couple of options if you've got any arm issues. Just make sure that you're comfortable. So we're starting with knees bent. We're going to keep hips forward. We're trying to create a little space in between your side and the floor. Feet are together. Connect pubic bone to tummy button. We're going to breathe out, lift the top knee, and breathe in down. So we're going into your clam level 1. Breathe out, lift. Breathe in lower. Now as you breathe out and lift, we don't want to be rolling back through the pelvis. So we're keeping the hips forward. No twisting going on, shoulder blades are drawing down. So again, it's really easy to let that top shoulder creep up to your ear. So you want to keep drawing down through there if possible. We're gradually going to build. So we're going to do one more. If you're happy at this level, you can stay here. You don't have to make it any harder. Make it harder, we're going to lift the feet. As you lift the knee this time, you'll probably feel like you can go a little bit further, but I just want you to try and connect your heels together just that little bit stronger as you open the knee. So we're getting into those hip rotators just that little bit more. Still connecting into your core. Breathe out as you open. Breathe in as you close. And we're going to build a little bit more again. So on the next one, we're going to open the knee. We're going to lift the foot this time when you get to the end. Bring the feet together. Close the knee. We're keeping the feet away from the floor the whole time. So breathing out, open, lift. Breathe in, down and close. So throughout all of this, we're still keeping that little sense of space in between your side and the floor. Make sure you're not squashing your back flat. We're going to keep going. Let's just do one last one. And then bring the legs together, bring the feet down. We're going to keep the bottom leg bent, but we're going to stretch out the top leg. Before you start, just look down at that top foot. Make sure you can't see your kneecap. If you can, you need to just take your leg back, just so that the leg is in line with the hip. So what we don't want is for the leg to be too far forwards before you start. So still space in your side, we're going to connect, breathe out, we're lifting straight up to the ceiling, breathe in, come down. And again, breathe out, breathe in. Let's add a foot action on the next one. So on the way up, we're pointing the toes. On the way down, we're going to flex the foot. Breathe out, point, and breathe in, flex. Keep going. Obviously, if you need to stop, then make sure you do. Let's do one more, then we're going to go into your side kick. So we're going to bring the leg down just to hip level, and we're going to take the leg forward, and then we're going to take the leg back. Now with this, it's really important that you're keeping that leg straight, so we don't want the knee to bend. We're working from the hip, and try and keep it as controlled as you can. So we don't want the whole body rolling forward and back. Let's add the foot in again. Okay, so on the next one, we're going to take the leg forward, point the toes, take the leg back, flex the foot. And again, point the toes, come forward, flex the foot, come back. Breathe out. Breathe in. And again. And back. Let's just do one last one. And back. We're going to point the toes, we're going into your circle. So we're going to sweep the leg to the ceiling, and then we're coming down towards the floor. Now if you want to make this easier, make the circle smaller. So small circles to make it easier, take it round wider if you want to make it harder. But again, just make sure that you're keeping everything else nice and controlled. So hips are forward, shoulders are down. Breathing wise, we're going to breathe out as the leg comes up, and breathe in as the leg comes down. Breathe out on the way up, in on the way down. Let's reverse it. So we're going to come round the other way and down again. Breathe out, breathe in. Keep it controlled, keep going. Breathe out, breathe in, and again. Let's just do one last one. And then come down. And then let's just have a little stretch of that leg. So just bring the knee in. Lengthening just a little bit into your glutes. We will give them a bit of a stretch at the end anyway. So we're going to carefully come up into sitting, and we're just going to do your mermaid just to have a little stretch through of your side. So this is your mermaid sitting position. So you've got one leg crossed in front and the other leg is behind. Now some of you have hip issues and knee issues for that matter. So if you're not happy sitting in this position, you can sit with your legs crossed if that feels better. You can have your legs in front. It doesn't really matter. So we're just trying to give your upper body, your back, a little bit of a stretch with this. So if you're happy in mermaid position, come to here. Otherwise, just sit in a comfortable place. We're going to take one hand down onto the floor, and we're just going to reach the other arm over the top. And we're just going to come into your mermaid and just hold it. Now we're focusing on length here. We're trying to feel a stretch coming through into the back, into the shoulder blade. Try and keep the shoulder itself drawing down, and we're going to breathe into it. So I want you to just take some nice big deep breaths in and out to hold. And then just come back up, reach your arms out to the side. And then we're just going to come over to the other side as well. So we're just going to take the other arm over. Again, breathe into it. Well done. And then come back to the centre. And then we're going to come over onto the other side. Okay, so we're just going to come over, do the same again with the hips. So again, just make sure you've got support underneath any bony prominences. Down onto your side, we're going back into your clam. So hips are forward, feet together, knees are bent. Connect, shoulders down, and we're going into your clam again. So we're going to breathe out, open, into close. Breathe out, breathe in. So again, we're gradually going to build, do what you can, make sure you only do the levels that you're happy with. So first progression, we're going to lift the feet, and we're doing the same again. So as you lift the knee, we're trying to just connect that bit deeper with the heels. So just think about pressing them together, just that little bit stronger as you open the knee up. Let's just do one more, and then we've got one more layer to add in. So we're going to do the same again, but this time we're going to lift the foot when you get to the end, and feet together and close. And again, open and lift, and together and close. Keep it going. We're still trying to keep that little space in the small of your side there, so just try not to squash your back or your side down into the floor. Let's just do one last one. And then we're going to bring the legs to the floor, keep the bottom leg bent, stretch the top leg. Just make sure you can't see your kneecap if you look straight down at the foot. It's going to move slightly because of the radiator. So we're going to reach the leg up and then we're going to come back down. So again, connect, keep that space in your side, breathe out as you lift, in as you come down. Breathe out, breathe in. Let's add the foot in on the next one. So we're pointing the toes on the way up, flex the foot as you come down. Point on the way up, flex as you come down. Let's do two more. And I'm going to bring the leg to hip level and into your side kick. Point the toes, we're taking the leg forward and we're taking it back. So again, try and keep it controlled, keep the knee straight. Try and keep the foot level with the hip the whole time. On the next one, we're pointing the toes as you come forward and flex the foot as you come back. Point the toes as you come forward, flex the foot as you come back. And we're going to do one more. And then we've got your circles to do. So we're going to come back, we're going to point the toes, we're going to sweep the leg to the ceiling, round to the back and down. Again, keep it controlled. Breathe out on the way up, in on the way down. One more round this way. Back round the other. Breathe out, round and up, in, round and down. Breathe out and in, out and in. Last one. Well done. And then bring the knee in. Again, just lengthen into your hips. Little stretch here. And then we're going to go back into your mermaid position. So we're just going to come up, just make sure that you're comfortable, as we were saying before. Okay, so we're going to start with your arms out to the side, hands level with shoulders. We're going to take one hand to the floor. Just allow the hand to slide away and we're just going to reach the other arm over. But again, just make sure that you're keeping that shoulder down. Try not to twist into your upper body. So what we don't want is to sort of do this sort of thing. So we're keeping just facing forward and we're just going to reach over. Breathe into it when you get to the end. And then carefully we're going to come up and then over to the other side. So same again. Reach over, keep the shoulder down, keep the arm long. So try not to let the elbow collapse over your head. So really reach, keep that nice energy going all the way through the arm, out through the fingers. And again, we're going to hold. And then come back. Lovely. So we're going to do a little bit on hands and knees now. So if you need to, little pad underneath your knees for a little bit of support. So we're going to do a little bit of swimming and then we're going to do some stretches just to finish off. So just make sure that your knees are underneath your hips, your hands are under your shoulders. We're going to start with legs on their own. So I want you to connect into your core again, shoulder blades are down, nice level pelvis. We're going to take one knee in towards you and we're going to stretch it back behind. So we're going to breathe in and breathe out. Try not to lose that nice neutral position. So we don't want to be twisting through the spinal pelvis. We don't want to be curling through the spine either. So you can just stay with the leg. If you want to make it harder, we can add some arming with it as well. So on the next one, as you stretch the leg out, we're going to reach opposite arm out as well, and then come back down. Breathe out, breathe in. So keep the shoulder blades down. Let's do one more on this side. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So just the leg on its own first. Stretch, breathe in, breathe out. One more, add in the arm. So when you're adding in the arm, we want to really reach out through the arm, through the fingers, point the toes as well. So imagine that you're trying to take your fingers and your toes as far away from each other as you can. Last one. Well done. And then just sit back onto your heels. So stretch your arms, bottom back on heels, drop your head down. Just allow your spine to open, shoulder blades to lengthen out, and we're just going to hold it and breathe. Well done. So we're going to come down onto your back, and we're just going to give your glutes a little stretch. So make sure again you've got support under your head, down onto your back. We're going to take one foot, I just want you to rest it on top of the opposite knee. If that's already stretching, leave it where it is. If you want to increase the stretch, we're going to hug the other leg in. Make sure you're supporting around the back of the leg with your hands. And we're just going to hold it here, and I just want you to focus on breathing. So nice big deep breaths again. Just make sure you don't hold your breath when you're stretching. And then bring the feet to the floor. Same again on the other side. Again, make sure you're breathing. And then bring the feet to the floor. We're going to turn over back onto hands and knees, and we're going to go into your cat stretch next. So knees are under hips, hands are under shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades down, take a breath in, breathe out. We're going to scoop the tailbone under, and we're going to curl up into your cat stretch. So really draw up through the tummy. We're thinking about that string of beads again through the spine. So if you imagine that you're starting from the tailbone, and then we're working through each individual segment of the spine in each direction. So tailbone under, curling up, all the way through to the neck. Hold it for a breath in, and then lead with the tailbone again, and we're coming back down opposite direction. And again. Last one. And then we're going to come into sitting. Now again, some people just don't like to sit. If you can, we can sit with your legs out in front, nice and straight. Now this can be quite challenging for some people to sit like this. So if you're one of those people, what you can do is if you've got a little block, you can just pop it underneath your sitting bones, just to prop you forward a little bit. It can sometimes feel like it's just bringing your pelvis forward to make sitting like this a little bit easier. If you're still not happy, bend the knees and just bring the legs to parallel. You can have them pressed together if that feels better for you. If you're still not happy here, you can come into cross-legged position instead. Okay, so just make sure that you're sitting in a place that feels comfortable for you. Some people just aren't particularly flexible, have back problems, etc. So sitting like this might not be ideal for you. Okay, so just again, get into a place that feels comfortable. So we're going to do a little spine stretch now. So we're just going to take your arms out in front of you. Now if you want, you can just rest them on the floor in front instead. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do like a sort of semi-roll down kind of movement. So we're going to keep the shoulders down, keep the tummy zipped up. We're going to breath in first. Breathing out, I just want you to drop chin on chest, and we're just going to think about rolling down through the spine. But as you roll down, what I want you to think about is reaching your arms forward. Okay, so we're trying to stretch into your back. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out, we're going to reach forward. Thinking about leaning through the hips as well. So we're trying to get a stretch through the back, but you'll feel the stretch coming into your legs as well. Hold for a breath in, and then breathing out, we're going to draw back in, restack the spine, shoulder blades down, and we're going to lengthen up nice and tall. So again, breathe in to prepare, breathe out, chin on chest, reach the arms forward, breath in, hold, and then we're coming back in, breathing out and restacking. Let's just do 2 more. And one last one. Well done. And then come down. Great. So we're going to do a little stretch now for your hip flexors. So again, if you need to, you can use a little pad underneath one knee. So we're going to come up into a half kneel position, and then I just want you to take a step forward with your front leg. So what we're trying to do here is get a nice lengthening through the hip flexor of your back leg. So we're going to lean forward onto the front leg, keeping the back knee down on the floor. So we're lengthening through the front of the back hip. We're going to take the same arm as your back leg up. Keep the shoulder blade drawing down, and then we're just going to reach over to the side. So you'll feel a little bit more of a deeper stretch, hopefully, coming through all the way down and into that hip flexor at the back. Breathe into it, nice big deep breaths. And then let's just add a little bit of rotation in as well. So we're just going to open up towards the ceiling a little way. And again, just hold it for a few breaths here. And then we're going to rotate down towards the floor. Watch your balance, because it can be a little bit wobbly as well. And again, just hold. Couple of breaths here. Lovely. And then come back. And we'll switch sides. So same again. Take a step forward with your supporting leg. Feel that stretch coming through into the back hip flexor. Reach up the arm, and we're just going to hold. If you want to, you can take it over a little bit further. And again, just breathe. And then let's just open up a little bit into the side, just a little bit further. And you'll just notice different areas in each of these little rotational movements are getting a bit more of a stretch. Okay, so again, watch your balance, rotate down towards the floor the other way. Well done. And then carefully come back to the centre, and we're going to come up into standing now. So don't get up too quickly. And we're going to finish with a few roll downs here. So we're going to just bring the feet underneath your hips. We're going to link the fingers. want you to start just by reaching your arms up. Let's just add a little bit of extension into the spine. So chest is going to reach to the ceiling. If you can, we're going to come up onto the balls of the feet. Hold it for a breath in. Breathe out. Try and hold your balance. We're going to take your arms out to the side. And then bring your heels to the floor, and then we're going to come into a roll down. So imagine your wall behind you, chin on chest. Let the knees soften as you roll down. One segment of the spine at a time. Keep your weight coming through the front of the foot. Hold it for a breath in. And then breathing out, tailbone tucks under, pelvis rolls up, spine restacks. We're going to do 2 more, so link your fingers. Chest to ceiling, stretch up towards the ceiling, come up onto the balls of the feet. Hold for a breath in. Breathe out. Keep that nice strong core balanced. Arms down, heels down. Chin on chest, let's come down again. Breathing out as you come down. Breath in, hold at the bottom. And breathe out. Rolling all the way through and back up. Let's just do one last one. So again, we're going to link the fingers, stretch. Up onto balls of feet. Last time, breath in, hold. Breathe out. Keep the arms strong. And heels. Last roll down. Breath in at the bottom. And breathing out to come all the way through and back up. And then let's just roll your shoulders at the end there. So we're just going to do nice big rolls. Let's come back round the other way for 3. And you're there. So well done. I hope you enjoyed that. So you can do this session whenever you like. Quite nice time to do it is either first thing in the morning, just to get you going, just get you loosening off, maybe towards the end of the day. Just do it whenever you feel, really. But any comments, feel free to leave them at the bottom underneath, or you can private message me if you prefer. And I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you'll join me again, and see you soon.